My name is Maya Cassidy. I'm 17 years old, and on the morning of November 14th, I died on my bathroom floor. It wasn't a car crash. It wasn't cancer. It was my own heart giving up on me. It happened at 7:14 a.m. I know the time because I was staring at my phone. I was getting ready for school, or trying to, but my hands were shaking so bad I couldn't even hold my toothbrush. It started like every other panic attack I'd had since I was 14, a tightness in the chest, a little flutter like a bird trapped behind my ribs, but then the bird turned into a fist, a cold, iron fist squeezing the life out of me. I dropped my phone. It hit the tile with a loud crack. I tried to breathe. My therapist told me, breathe in for 4, hold for 4, out for 4. I tried. I really tried. But the air wouldn't go in. It felt like someone had poured concrete down my throat. My vision started to swim. Black spots danced in front of the mirror. I looked at myself, my pale skin, the dark circles under my eyes from scrolling TikTok until 3 a.m., the messy bun. I looked at myself and I thought, I can't do this today. I just can't do this anymore. My knees hit the floor first, then my shoulder. I tried to call out for my mom. She was just downstairs making coffee. I could smell the toast. I could hear the morning news on the TV, just 20 feet away. Mom, I tried to say, but nothing came out, just a wheeze. My heart was beating so fast it didn't feel like a beat anymore. It felt like a buzz, like a machine going haywire, faster, harder, and then one big, painful thud. And silence, total silence. I didn't feel the cold tile on my cheek anymore. I didn't feel the fear. I just felt light. Before I tell you what I saw, you need to know who I was, because I think a lot of you are just like me. I was a good kid. I got straight A's. I played volleyball. I went to youth group on Wednesdays. To everyone else, I was Maya the achiever. Maya, the girl who had it all together. But inside, I was drowning. We call it anxiety, but that word is too small. It was a constant noise in my head. From the second I woke up to the second I passed out, I was plugged in. I lived on my phone. We all do. I measured my worth in likes and views. I compared my body, my clothes, my life to strangers on the internet every single day. I was terrified of the future. The news was always bad. War, climate change, politics, hate. It felt like the world was on fire and I was supposed to just sit in geometry class and pretend it was fine. I carried this heavy blanket of doom everywhere I went. I was tired. So tired. My soul was tired. I remember thinking just a few days before I died, is this it? Is this all life is? Just worry and noise until we die? I didn't know how close I was to finding out the answer. When my heart stopped, the noise stopped. That was the first thing I noticed. The buzz in my head, that constant static of worry, it just cut off, like someone pulled the plug on a loud vacuum cleaner. I stood up, I looked down at the floor, and I saw a girl lying there. She looked small. She was wearing my oversized gray t-shirt and pajama shorts. Her hair was fanned out on the white rug. One hand was curled up near her face. It took me a second to realize that's me. I wasn't scared. That's the weird part. You'd think seeing your own dead body would be terrifying, but it wasn't. It was like looking at a coat I had taken off because it was too heavy. Maya, I heard my mom's voice. I saw the bathroom door open. Mom ran in. She dropped her coffee mug. It shattered, brown liquid splashing everywhere, but I didn't hear the crash. Maya, baby. She fell to her knees. She grabbed the girl on the floor. She was shaking her, slapping her cheeks. She was screaming, but To me, it sounded muffled, like she was underwater. "Mom, I'm okay," I said. "I'm right here." I reached out to touch her shoulder. I wanted to comfort her, but my hand went right through her back. It was like smoke moving through smoke. She couldn't see me. She couldn't hear me. She was dialing 911, her fingers trembling so hard she kept hitting the wrong buttons. I started to float. I drifted up through the ceiling. I saw the attic. I saw the dust motes dancing in the beams of light. I went through the roof. Suddenly, I was above the house. I saw our street. The mailman was delivering letters. The neighbor was walking his dog. The world kept moving. And then the sky changed. The blue morning sky tore open. It wasn't a tunnel. It was more like the world just dissolved. The trees, the houses, the clouds, they all faded into a gray mist. I was alone in the gray, and I started to fall. Not down, but into something deep. I wasn't falling for long. The gray mist began to shimmer. It started to turn gold, but not like gold metal. It was like liquid sunlight. And then the atmosphere changed. Have you ever stood next to a massive waterfall? You know that feeling of raw power? The way the ground shakes and the air feels thick with energy? That's what I felt before I saw him. The air around me became heavy, but in a good way. It felt like a weighted blanket. It felt solid. For the first time in my life, I wasn't anxious. The knot in my stomach was gone. The racing thoughts were gone. Then he stepped out of the light. It was Jesus. But he didn't look like a painting. He didn't look like a ghost or a spirit. He was the most real thing I had ever seen. Compared to him, the world I came from looked like a cartoon. He was high definition, and Earth was just a blurry sketch. He wasn't wearing white robes. He was wearing light. It looked like he was wrapped in the colors of a sunrise. Ambers, deep reds, blinding golds. It moved and shifted around him like living water. I looked at his face. I didn't see a beard or long hair at first. I saw his eyes. They were like oceans, deep, endless, and churning with life. When he looked at me, I felt a physical wave hit my chest. It wasn't a wave of judgment. It was a wave of stability. That's the only word I can use, stability. My whole life, I felt like I was walking on a tightrope in a hurricane. Everything was shaky. Everything was scary. But standing in front of him, the ground stopped shaking. He didn't say, "I love you." He didn't use words at all. He projected a feeling into me. It felt like a warm hand placed firmly on the center of my chest, right where the panic attack had started. Peace, be still. It wasn't a command. It was a fact. In his presence, fear couldn't exist. It was physically impossible for fear to survive this close to him, like an ice cube trying to survive inside a volcano. It just melted. I fell to my knees, not because I had to, but because my legs couldn't hold the weight of how good it felt. "Maya," he said. His voice didn't come from his mouth. It came from everywhere. It sounded like the deep hum of a cello, vibrating right through my bones. "You are tired, little one." I looked up at him, tears streaming down my face. But they weren't sad tears. They were relief. "I'm so tired," I whispered. "It's so loud down there. It's so loud." He knelt down. He was tall, so tall, but he knelt down until he was eye level with me. The light around him softened, so I could look at him without blinding myself. "I know," he said. "I know the noise. I know the weight." He reached out and touched my head. His hand felt like warm energy. "Come," he said. "Let me show you what the noise really is." The scene changed instantly. We weren't in the gold mist anymore. We were looking down at the earth, but It didn't look like the Earth from space. It looked dark. I saw millions of tiny lights flickering on the surface. Those were people. "Look closer," Jesus said. I zoomed in. I could see my high school. I could see the mall. I could see houses in my neighborhood. And I saw something that made me gasp. There was a web, a thick, black, oily web covering the whole town. It looked like tar. It was sticky and gross. And there were cables, thousands of thin, black cables coming out of this web. I watched as these cables hooked into people, specifically young people. I saw a boy sitting in his room, gaming. A black cable went from the screen right into the back of his head. I saw a girl lying in bed, crying, scrolling on her phone. A black cable was wrapped around her throat, choking her. I saw groups of friends sitting at a lunch table, but they weren't talking. They were all looking down. The black cables connected them all, but not to each other. It connected them to a dark cloud hovering above the city. "What is that?" I asked. I felt sick looking at it. "That," Jesus said, his voice sad and deep, "is the filter." He pointed to the girl with the cable around her throat. "She thinks she is depressed," he said. "She thinks she is broken, but she is not. She is being fed poison." I watched the black goo pulsing through the cable. It looked like sludge. "This generation," Jesus said, "is the most gifted generation I have ever sent to earth. You are sensitive. You feel deeply. You were made to hear my voice clearly." He turned to me, and his eyes were fierce. "But the enemy knows this. He knows that if you hear me, you will change the world. So he has built the noise." He pointed to the phones, the screens, the constant news cycles. "It is a distraction," he explained. "It is designed to keep you in a state of fear. When you are afraid, you cannot hear me. When you are comparing yourself to others, you cannot see who I made you to be." I watched as the black web pulsed. Every time a notification dinged, the web got tighter. Every time someone posted a mean comment, the sludge moved faster. It wasn't just technology, it was spiritual. I saw demons, small, dark, frantic shadows running along the cables. They were whispering things into the kids' ears. "You're ugly. Nobody likes you. You're going to fail. Just give up." The kids thought these were their own thoughts. That's the scary part. They thought they were thinking it, but they weren't. It was being whispered to them. "They think they are sick," Jesus said, "but they are under attack." Then the scene changed again. Jesus took me to a garden, but it was a mess. There were weeds everywhere, thorns, garbage. The ground was dry and cracked. "This is your mind, Maya," he said gently. I felt embarrassed. "It's ugly. It is neglected," he corrected. He walked over to a pile of trash in the middle of the garden. He picked up a crumpled piece of paper. It was a tweet I had read 3 years ago, a mean comment someone made about my clothes. "You kept this," he said. He picked up a thorny vine, and this is the fear that you will never find love. He looked at the dry ground. "You spend hours every day watering the weeds," he said. "You scroll. You watch things that scare you. You listen to music that tells you life is meaningless. You are pouring dirty water on your garden and wondering why no flowers grow." I started to cry. It was so true. I consumed garbage all day long, and I wondered why I felt like garbage. "How do I stop it?" I asked. Jesus smiled. He waved his hand. Suddenly, rain started to fall on the garden, but it was golden rain. It was the same liquid light I saw earlier. As soon as the rain touched the ground, the weeds withered and died, the thorns turned into dust, and green shoots popped up, fast, like a time-lapse video. Beautiful flowers, blue, purple, red, exploded out of the ground. The air smelled like lavender and honey. "My peace," Jesus said, "my word. my presence. He looked at me intently. Maya, you have to unplug. You have to step away from the web. The enemy wants you constantly connected to the world, so you are disconnected from me. He placed his hand on my shoulder. The cure for your anxiety isn't just a pill. It is my presence. You need to sit in the silence. You need to turn off the screen and turn on your heart. If you give me 10 minutes of silence, I can heal 10 years of noise. I looked at the beautiful garden. I felt so light. I felt so free. I want to stay here, I said. Please, don't make me go back to the web. Don't make me go back to the noise. I grabbed his hand. It felt solid, like holding onto a mountain. Please, I begged. I can't breathe down there. It hurts to be there. Jesus looked at me with so much love, but he shook his head slowly. You have to go back, Maya. Why? I cried. I'm happy here. I'm finally safe. Because of them. He pointed back to the earth. I saw the black web again. I saw my friends. I saw kids I didn't even know. Millions of them. Suffocating. They don't know it's a trap, he said. They think it's normal to feel this way. They think they are alone. He squeezed my hand. You have to go back and tell them. Tell them the anxiety is a lie. Tell them the fear is a smokescreen. Tell them I am right here, waiting for them to just look up. I felt a pull, a heavy, magnetic pull dragging me backward. I can't do it, I yelled. I'm not strong enough. Jesus smiled, and for the first time, he laughed. It was a joyful, booming sound that made my spirit vibrate. You are not strong enough, he agreed, but I am. Take the silence with you, Maya. Carry the silence into the noise. He leaned forward and kissed my forehead. Go. The sensation was violent. It felt like being sucked through a straw. I saw colors blur. I saw the gray mist. I saw my roof. Slam. Pain. Instant, searing pain in my chest. My eyes flew open. Clear. Thump. My body jerked off the floor. I gasped. The air rushed into my lungs, burning like fire. I started coughing. We got a pulse. We got a pulse. I was blinded by lights. There were people everywhere. Strange men in uniforms. My mom was screaming in the hallway. The bathroom was crowded. My chest felt like it had been kicked by a horse. I found out later they had to shock me 3 times. A paramedic was leaning over me. He looked sweaty and stressed. Stay with us, Maya. Stay with us. I looked at him. I looked at the ceiling, and I started to cry. Not because I was in pain, but because the colors were gone. The golden light was gone. I was back in the gray world. I was back in the heavy coat. They loaded me onto a stretcher. I remember the bumpy ride down the stairs. I remember the siren wailing. But even through the sirens, I noticed something. The static in my head, it was gone. The fear, it was gone. I closed my eyes in the ambulance amidst all the chaos, and I could still feel it, that solid, warm feeling of stability. The anchor. He had kept his promise. I brought the silence back with me. I spent a week in the hospital. The doctors ran every test. They said I had a freak electrical malfunction in my heart caused by extreme stress. They said I was lucky to be alive. But I know it wasn't luck. I'm sharing this story because I know who is watching this. I'm talking to you, the one watching this on your phone at 1 a.m. because you can't sleep, the one who feels like your chest is always tight, the one who feels like the world is ending. I want you to know something. You are not broken. You are under attack. There is a war for your attention. There is a war for your peace. The enemy wants you scared, distracted, and comparing yourself to everyone else so that you never look up and see the face of God. Jesus showed me that our generation, Gen Z, we are suffering because we are starving. We are eating content, but our souls are starving for connection, real spiritual connection. You don't need to fix yourself before you go to Him. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to unplug. Literally. Put the phone down, turn off the noise, go into your room, close the door, sit in the silence. It will be scary at first. Your brain will scream for a dopamine hit, but wait for the presence. Jesus is not a fairy tale. He is not a painting in a church. He is a living, breathing force of stability in a world that is falling apart. He is the only thing that is solid. He told me to tell you, you are not alone in the dark. He is standing right there, just outside the web of fear, waiting for you to reach out. My name is Maya. I died of fear, but I came back with peace, and that peace is available to you right now. Just ask Him for it.